use either free software or non-free, whatever does the job most easily today. But that is short-sighted. Governments should be looking above all at how to direct society towards freedom and strength and happiness. And that means that that's the government's overall mission. Of course, individual government departments have particular jobs to do. But while they do these jobs and try to do so efficiently, they should not forget the government's overall purpose. Which means that when they start doing a job using computers, they should use free software, because that leads society in the direction of goodwill and development and independence and strength. The use of non-free software does not permit development. It's the opposite of development, because it's dependency. It's permanent dependency. And the only way to escape from this dependency is to stop using the non-free software. So anytime governments spread the use of non-free software in society, they are making society more dependent. Society is in a pit, and they are digging the pit deeper. What they should be doing is digging the path to get out. Governments have a duty to use free software for their work, because they have a duty to maintain control over the government's data on behalf of the citizens. Governments operate on lots of data for their dealings with the public, and it's the government's responsibility to do this on behalf of the public, which means that government must never allow any private party to get control over what's done with this data. And the only way to make sure the government has full control over what it does with its data is by using free software all the time. But above all, it's the schools that have to use free software, because the schools are training the next generation. And schools in India today have a choice. They can either train people to be dependent on non-free software, to be under the thumb of the non-free software developers, perhaps for their whole lives, or they can train people to use free software and to recognize freedom and defend it. Which one is the healthy path? Clearly, society is better off if people are not dependent on a company, a particular company, typically even a foreign one. And you can see this even in the tremendous drain of money that pours away in license fees every year and is likely to get more and more. Right now, of course, most individuals in India who have computers are using unauthorized copies. But the developers are taking steps to make that impossible. So you can expect this drain of money to turn into a flood of money, and it's going to get bigger every year. This is a very shallow reason, but it is significant for a poor country. It creates part of the digital divide. Part of the digital divide is natural. It's because computers cost money and connectivity costs money. But added to that is the artificial part of the digital divide, created by the artificial scarcity of the software you need to run the computer. Free software eliminates that part of the digital divide. And if you only have the other parts to deal with, all your efforts at solving it can go further. But there are deeper reasons why schools must use free software, must offer the students free software to use. One of them is for the sake of education. Some people in their teens want to learn all about software. And at that point, a lot of them are going to want to know, how does this program I'm using actually work? If they're using non-free software, the answer is, it's a secret. You're not allowed to know such things. Don't ask. But if the school's running free software, then the teacher can say, I'm glad you're interested. Here's the source code. This is exactly how the program does that job. You can learn everything. And then you could learn even more by trying making changes in that source code. Some people are natural-born programmers. Writing code is immediately obvious to them. And we still have to learn good judgment in how to write clear, quality code. And the way you learn that is by reading a lot of code and writing a lot of code. It's like learning to be a good writer of a human language. With non-free software, there's nothing for you to read. I used to see people graduating from college around 1990, and they had never seen a program that wasn't a toy, that wasn't a classroom exercise, because the real programs were secret. But today, anyone in India can have the same kind of opportunity that I had only because I was at MIT. In 1971, the only way to get that opportunity was to go over to MIT. But today, all you need is a PC. Install GNU/Linux on it, and you have the same opportunity to learn to write system software by reading it and changing it. Think of a new feature to add. You take a big program and you make a small change. As a beginner, you couldn't write a big program yourself, not very well, but you can write a small change. And by doing that, you start to understand the issues about how to make a big program clear. When you've done that enough times, you understand how to write a big program and do a good job. This opportunity can now be available in every school. Schools should say to the kids, if you bring software to school, you may not keep it for yourself. You must let the other kids copy it. That's a rule. Of course, the school has to follow its own rule. So the school should only bring free software to school as well. And this way we can teach people the habit of helping each other out, make a society that's more livable, more kind. When companies offer gratis copies of non-free software to schools in India, they're trying to lead the students into a trap. They're trying to get the students hooked to make them dependent. It's the same reason why tobacco companies used to like giving away gratis packs of cigarettes to kids, so that they would grow up and be dependent on tobacco. And for the same reason, schools should refuse to go along with this. So, today, we've made a great beginning. We have tens of thousands of users. We have many free programs that do a lot of jobs. Where do we go from here? Of course, we need to develop more programs to do other jobs. And we need to show the other computer users in the world that they can live in freedom also. But today, we have something that we never had before. We have enemies, powerful organizations trying to stop us from developing free software. We want to serve the public. They don't want to let us serve the public. In the US, there are 2 different laws that each prohibits various kinds of free software. One of these laws is called the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and it prohibits free software for certain specific a certain range of jobs, which is accessing copyrighted media, accessing encrypted media. It prohibits free software for a specific range of jobs, which is access to encrypted media. For instance, there's a free program that you can use to play a DVD, but this program is illegal in the US. It has been censored, banned. My computer used to have a DVD player, which I couldn't get software to use. That software that would enable me to use it is illegal in the US. If you buy a DVD, it's lawful for you to put it into your computer and play the film, but the free software